Welcome, fellow Kiwanians and guests. Glad to see a full room today. Want to send out congratulations to our own member Joyce Wall on the announcement of her impending retirement as executive director of the Regional Chamber of Commerce. And we have just learned that Sherry and Dave Hartman will be leading a session on inclusion at the district convention in Baltimore in August. Let's give those guys a hand. Mr. Don Chichester is going to lead us in the invocation today.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we invoke your blessing upon this meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke, upon its members and families. And we ask that you heal those who are among us that are ill or have undergone surgery. And those who have lost loved ones, may they have the peace of the knowledge of your grace. We thank you, Lord, for all that you have provided for us on this earth. We thank you for all the skills that you have given us, which allow us to earn our livings and care for our families. In gratitude for our blessings, may we share them with the others who have less blessings through our efforts in Kiwanis. And now bless this food to our use and us to your service. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Good job. Well, our song leader today is going to be Bill Bestbitch and Judy Clark.
You know, sometimes when we sing, God Bless America, I just can't help from asking myself why we don't think God has blessed America enough already, and more than enough. As Don said in his prayer, so many things. And that's why I like America the Beautiful, because it reminds us that we have been graced with so many blessings that we did nothing to deserve. Judy, God bless America. Oh, beautiful for spacious sky, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Bill and Judy. Our Pledge of Allegiance today is led by Steve McGraw.
Thank you, President Clark. I had a lengthy explanation I was going to give about the history of the pledge, something like a John Bradshaw length kind of explanation, but I think we don't have enough time today. So just remember that after nation, there's no comma. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I've had the task of announcing our visitors, and all visitors, when I call your name, please stand, and then the sponsor will stand as well. We have Ron Butler being sponsored by, or the host is Eric Danielson, I'm sorry. We got Rhonda Purdue with Steve McGraw and Tanner Poor with Kevin Reeder. All right. Thank y'all. Give them a hand.
Guys, this isn't really on the agenda, but I have a special announcement. I don't know, membership is a big, I have a lot of passion for membership for this club. And so, Roanoke Kiwanis is maybe the best kept secret in Roanoke. So we want to do away with that. I want to show you guys, we have a brand new commercial that I just saw yesterday about 5 o'clock, and we're going to play it for you. So we did our commercial for our K-Pad, and this is our second commercial introducing Kiwanis to the Roanoke Valley on television.
The goodness ripples out into the community when you get involved.
The Kiwanis Club of Roanoke helps make our city such a special place. It's one of the largest and most active clubs in the world, granting more than $1 million in the past 10 years.
This whole community is going to be transformed through efforts of the Kiwanis.
Would you like to make a real difference? Join the Kiwanis Club of Roanoke today. Find out how at roanokekiwanisclub.org.
Hope you all like that. So we're going to start airing that on Channel 7. And Mike, did you want to talk about first? Sherry's going to go first? Sounds good.
All right. Isn't that wonderful? I love it. Great job. I think Eric Danielson, others were involved in that production. That was awesome. I don't know if you are like me on a day like today. There is nowhere in the world I would rather be than the Roanoke Valley. We got up this morning. It was just perfect weather for a morning walk. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have things that we can improve in our Roanoke Valley. And that's our mission, in fact, to improve the quality of life for all in our Roanoke Valley. So we have opportunities to act upon that mission, and I want to mention a number of them to you all. You are, I hope, aware by now of our Kiwanis Nature Park that is being grown, as Joe Gaither just said in that video, that's going to transform that area right next to our playground so that this high-need neighborhood in Roanoke can be just as green and offer opportunities to connect with nature as other neighborhoods in the community. So we are inviting you to participate in a number of ways, and let me know how you would like to be involved, or let Don Witt know, who co-chairs this with me, or let Rupert Cutler know, who has logged on today, how you would like to be involved. I'll mention a couple of these things. One is, in order to improve the watershed that affects the Horton Creek that flows through that area, we want to have regular cleanups. So a couple of weeks ago, I got in the water and I was there cleaning up with one of our partners, the creek itself, and digging out all kinds of fascinating things from the creek. That's something that we need help with. And in fact, what I'm trying to do right now is recruit a leader of our cleanups that we will sponsor every quarter or possibly every 2 months. Now, it doesn't mean you're out there alone cleaning up. We have lots of community partners who get involved. So you're more like the conductor of the orchestra. You just pull all those pieces together. You might not even have to get into that water or pick up any trash yourself. But we do want a volunteer to help lead the cleanups. So let me know if you're interested in that. We have a fascinating partnership with Clean Valley Council to put into place rain barrels. So we're trying to, conserve water, make these rain barrels available. Near the nature park, we're looking at putting one right next to the Melrose Library there. You might want one in your home. If you are interested in rain barrels, let me know, because that's one of the activities that we're doing is creating rain barrels. And June 28th, we can learn more about rain barrels if you want to go to a training on that. Another opportunity that we have will be the week of July 18th. We are going to have a very special educational program for youth, and we'll also train the adults who come to help youth in the future to become skilled at observing. We'll kind of channel our Henry David Thoreau and look longer to see more and capture it in journals, because we want the youth to have the skills to really appreciate and enjoy the nature that we're enhancing in that neighborhood. So Rupert Cutler comes to mind when I talk about this, because honestly, he says that's how he fell in love with his field of environmental science, was by observing and journaling what he saw happening in nature. So you could be a part of that if you would like to. Let me know, and you can join us on that week of July 18th. I think it's actually going to be that Monday night at the library. So, and then we have a very specific need. Don Witt has recruited some folks from our last meeting. We need our nature park nurturers. We have folks signed up to do tasks like hosing down the park, our garden. We have our first wildflower garden that's planted. You can help us keep that watered. Spray the deer off. Steve McGraw's the expert at that. We've named him. He's earned the name Stinky Steve because the spray does have a bit of a smell, but we need help with that, and to weed if you're so inclined. And I need volunteers. If you would take a look at the center of your table for August 8th, 15th, all the weeks in August, except for the first week when Joe Lemmer has stepped up to the plate. Thank you, Joe, to do that. Thank you all so much. Thank you, President Clark.
I don't see Betsy Bohannon here today, but just want to let you know that Betsy is doing the support for the kids' backpacks again. So please reach out to Betsy. I think we do have some funds for the budget, but we always look for donations for that. And I think we're looking at the first weekend in August as a tax-free weekend that we can go and do the shopping for the kids. So please, if you're interested in being a part of that, please reach out to Betsy Bohannon on that.
Mike McAvoy here for First Fridays. We're doing 2 concerts this summer. We're helping to volunteer, taking tickets and pouring beer. And our first one is July 15th. The band is Fuzzy Logic, and I've left a little description of who they are on your table. We only have 2 spots left, so it's a hot ticket. So if you want to sign up to work that event and listen to the concert and be among your Kiwanis friends, come see me. I'll be sitting over there in the corner. And again, we only need 2 more volunteers and we'll be set for July 15th. So thank you.
First Fridays is always a lot of fun. I did a stint as a bartender, so I'm ready to roll. I wanted to talk, I'm Ben Spiker, President-elect. I wanted to talk about our Interclub coming up on July 20th. We're going to do it out at Carvin's Cove. It's going to be a kind of a family event. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids. We hope to have some games and things like that. Cost is $20 per person. We have worked it out with John
so that those of us that are full members, that money that's applied for our lunch will be applied towards the $20 cost. So please come out, please join us. It should be a lot of fun. Thank you all.
The other announcement, I don't see Bob Haberman here, but we have sent our invitation letters out to potential grant recipients. If you guys know of a special project that's not on our list, please reach out to Bob Haberman so he can get that out to you, to them. Thank you. Plenty of time for brag bucks today. I know Steve McGraw has one. Does anybody else like to brag today? Yeah, Kevin, absolutely.
My prepaid brag, J.C. Taylor, is on my guest today, who is Rhonda Perdue. She is the Chief Deputy in the Roanoke County Circuit Court Clerk's Office. We've been working together for 25 years. I know she doesn't look 25 years old, but she is a little older than that. Rhonda has been an exemplary employee for those 25 years and rose to Chief Deputy 6 years ago. And she's the reason why, if you like our office, she's the reason if there's a problem, it's my fault. Thank you.
Well, John, you can put this on my tab if you could. Yeah. I just wanted to say, if anyone was aware, there was a kind of a young professionals conference recently held at the Hotel Roanoke called Experience, which they've been doing for several years. Eric, were you there? Yeah. And Tanner, who's my guest and a colleague of mine, he was there. It was great, a great event. Kiwanis was actually well represented. Gene Bollendorf was there. Lois James was there. Our Sam Rasool was there, was our kickoff speaker. Very energetic, had a great message, got everybody the blood flowing by doing a room-wide, probably about 100 people, rock, paper, scissors tournament, which was great. But he did a great job, and it's just really great to see all the young professionals gathered there. That's an event they've been putting on for several years. And again, Kiwanis was well represented. So check into it next year. Thank you.
All right, first time brag buck. I'm Alex. I work with Brain Injury Services of Southwest Virginia. And we have a new episode through Buzz for Good that's coming out. It's going to air on Blue Ridge PBS on Wednesday the 29th. Though we're having a free gathering at the Grandin Theater to watch a sneak peek of it at 6 p.m. on the 28th. You're all invited if you would like to come. If you don't know, it's a cooperative between Michael Hemphill, who runs a show and matches people up with PR firms, nonprofits with PR firms, and they help them rebrand and market and do things that we're not experts in doing. And all of it was made possible thanks to a sponsorship through Mr. Bruce Swanson and Portfolio Design Services. So certainly thankful for that. Thank you.
Well, we're a little ahead of schedule. Any more brag bucks? Sure.
Since we seem to have time, and I'm going to pay extra here because I might use up extra time.
Sounds good.
So some of you may not be sports fans, and I'm all right with that. My wife's not a sports fan, and I love her dearly. But if you are a sports fan, you undoubtedly recognize that Steph Curry last week led his Golden State Warriors to, I guess, the 4th NBA championship in the last 8 years, and has received huge acclaim over in the sports media, at least in the past week for that. And I think most of those guys now place him in the top 5 or 10 all-time NBA players, some other of which even a casual sports fan would recognize, like LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain or whoever. But anyway, so Steph certainly
deserves some accolades. Does anybody besides John Montgomery here happen to know where Steph Curry played his college basketball? Oh, well, there are some people who know. Steph Davidson and his NBA acclaim now. Steph's jersey up to this point had not been retired by Davidson. Davidson has a policy of not retiring jerseys of players until they have graduated. And as some of you may know, Steph decided to step out after his junior year. This was sort of against the counsel of his mother. His mother said, Steph, you ought to stay at Davidson and get your degree. You never know what's going to happen. That might seem laughable at this point. He's probably worth $300 or $400 million. But anyway, he recently fulfilled his promise. It may be the only good thing that happened with respect to the pandemic, and that is that Davidson was forced to offer students some online classes. In addition to not retiring jerseys for people who haven't graduated, they're pretty particular about accepting transfer credits. So Steph was out there waiting for 12 years, and finally, through I think through the pandemic and some online courses, managed to complete his graduation requirements and graduated from Davidson a couple of weeks ago. Now, he was not able to walk down and get his diploma because he was involved in whooping up on the Boston Celtics. But anyway, he's finally graduated. So this brag is for several things. It's for Steph and his accomplishments. It's for mothers who have emphasized to their athletic sons the importance of studying in class, whether it is in high school or college. And it's a shout out to Davidson College for at least having the propensity to recognize academic achievements above athletic achievements. Y'all have a good day. It's always great to be a Roanoke Kiwanian, as my mentor Ken Briggs says. Ken also circulates information about Davidson, and he signs a lot of those off as it's always a great day to be a Davidson Wildcat.
This brag is kind of unique. I was paid to make this brag. I want to talk a minute about my friend Steve McGraw. In fact, I was introduced to this club in 2001. And in 2002, Steve McGraw recommended me to this club. One thing about Steve, whenever there's some labor work, outside work, picking up leaves, picking up trash, he always brings me in on the job. But he never brings me in on anything that's intelligent. Other than I was president of the club, and I have to admit, and I didn't ask for that. The only thing I asked Steve, I said, Steve, what do you have to do to be president of this club? Well, after I made that comment, within 3 or 4 years, I was president of the club. So just be careful what you ask about. All I did was ask a simple question. But anyway, right now, Steve's got me involved with the gardening over here with Sherry. We have this big garden over here off of Melrose. I'd like to get more people to sign up for it. Very simple. You go over there and you water the garden and you spray for deers. The problem is Steve has made it so complicated. You got a wrench, you got a pair of pliers, you got all kind of tools you got to remember to use how to turn the water on. I still don't know how to turn the water on. Every day I get a different email. They got one boat that said this one doesn't fit. Another guy says going to the hardware store to get another. Do we finally have it worked out, Steve? It's finally fixed. Okay, after about 4 weeks now, maybe we can figure out how to turn the water on. But guys and ladies, please y'all to think about signing up for that. It's a great job. You get an opportunity to water the garden, and then you got this nasty smelling spray that you spray on them to keep the deer away. So my week is the week after next. If they get eaten up that week, don't blame me because I'm going to try to get over there to spray them, sir. I would hate for the deer to eat the plants on my week. Well, anyway, you all have a great day. Sign up and help us out over there.
Way to sell it, JC. Way to sell it. But by the way, JC was the president when I first joined the club. So JC was my first exposure as president of the club, and it was a great year. So today's program is Leadership of the Roanoke Valley by Eric Sashaw, and it's going to be introduced by Kevin Reeder.
Thank you, President Clark. So I have the honor of introducing Eric Sishow, who is the Vice President of Membership Services for the Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce. And as President Clark mentioned that our own Joyce Wall will be retiring from that role, Eric has been tapped to fill her position at the end of this year. So we're looking forward to your leadership there. We'll know you'll do a great job. And, you know, Joyce is a member of this club. So please consider that. In any case, before I introduce Eric, I thought I would briefly share my experience with Leadership Roanoke Valley. As many of you know, and if you don't know, we'll learn a little bit more about it. The Leadership Roanoke Valley program, sponsored by the Roanoke Regional Chamber, has been around for, what did we find? Just completed its 39th year, and is a great program. I've found in my time there, and I was the class of 2017 on the health team, and they have some different topics that they split into their teams, and mine was health, and you learn so much about it, getting so involved, and I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it so much that I also served as an advisor to the 2018 class for the workforce development team. And if many of you don't know, the advisors on those programs are completely volunteer. So they offer a lot of their time to help put on that program. There's a great group over there that does that. And I also enjoyed it so much, I nominated a colleague of mine who went through and just graduated, and also nominated another colleague, Tanner, who's sitting over here today. So hopefully he'll be in this coming year's program. And I found it to be a fantastic networking tool, learning a lot about the Roanoke Valley region. And obviously, as in its name, it's a fantastic leadership development tool. So I would really encourage anyone who manages people in the organization, who owns a business, if you have anybody that might be a fit for that program, no matter the age, it is a fantastic program and one that we greatly benefit from in the Roanoke Valley. Briefly for Eric's bio, Eric has been with the Roanoke Regional Chamber in Roanoke since October 2019. Prior to that, Eric worked in minor league baseball for 8 years with the Delmarva Shorebirds, a Baltimore Orioles affiliate in Salisbury, Maryland, where he oversaw community relations, marketing, in-game entertainment, amongst many other things. And Eric is originally from Ocean Pines, Maryland, which is 10 minutes outside of Ocean City, which I hear is a nice place to live. But we're glad to have Eric in Roanoke, so please welcome Eric Sishow.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. I'm going to take the mic and kind of interactive program here. So Kevin, everyone, I really appreciate you all having us. Joyce is a rock star, and we are definitely going to miss her at the end of the year, but we're also excited for her next journey and everything that she's involved in with the community, with you all and numerous organizations. We're excited for her to be able to expand her reach a little bit and get involved in a lot of the things that she's had a little bit more time for. So we really appreciate Joyce and just contributions to the region, not only 22 years with the chamber, but Prior to that, economic development, and helped start Explore Park, and has worked with probably everyone in this room on some capacity on an initiative. So appreciate it. You know, there's so many different angles that we could talk about Roanoke Valley, or excuse me, Leadership Roanoke Valley with. And really it starts with a thank you to you all in the room, because LRV is one piece of the pie to the Chamber's entire program of work. So just, you know, I heard Sherry talk about it with just ways to improve LRV, or excuse me, ways to improve the Valley with your partnership with Clean Valley Council and the rain barrel buckets. And I'll talk a little bit about how Clean Valley Council was involved most recently with our environment team from this past year's class. But really just a thank you to so many people in this room and your businesses for investing in the Chamber, trusting in the Chamber, trusting in the team, trusting in our board of directors. You know, I have to shout out Eric Danielson with All-Star Impressions. They are an integral partner of the Chamber, both with our Chamber Cup, our golf tournament each and every year, actually printing the awards for our Leadership Roanoke Valley program, numerous things for annual meetings. So Eric, thank you. Alex, I don't know where you are with Brain Injury Services. His boss, Jody Judge, is just a recent graduate of LRV, so we appreciate Brain Injury Services being involved. Mike, with Western Virginia Water Authority, we appreciate you all and your continued support. And I'm missing multiple people. Councilman Bill Bestpitch, of course, we work with him in multiple capacities and initiatives. So Bill, thank you. Of course, Kevin and First Bank. And I'm missing folks, I know that, and I apologize, but also just an appreciation. So really, with LRV, how I wanted to kind of explain it all to you today was where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. As Kevin alluded to, if it wasn't for COVID, we would have just completed 40 years of LRV. So we're 39 years and counting with a lot of momentum for the future. And I have one question. I know there's some folks on Zoom. Who is a LRV alumni that's in the room? All right, good. So we have at least 6 or 7, and I know there's some folks on Zoom that I'm sure are alumni. So I'm glad you raised your hand, because in a little bit, I'm going to ask you a question about your experience from LRV and the importance of that as we move forward over the next 40 years plus. So 39 years and counting of LRV with numerous graduates, over 900, and the impact that that's had on the region of leaders. And as Kevin mentioned, and we've saw in this last class, just the diversity of our class and people in different leadership positions. And as Steve mentioned, and his colleague Rhonda is part of, she's been nominated and has applied, and we're waiting our selection committee to let us know who they plan to have in the next class. But Steve had a perfect example of Rhonda's been an integral part of that organization and is now in a place to where Leadership Roanoke Valley can help elevate her to the next level in all the things that they do within Steve's office. So Steve, we appreciate that. And that's what it's all about, is leaders are in different positions at different times to be involved and influenced by LRV. It doesn't necessarily need to be young professionals. We encourage that diversity. We encourage the business community and you all to nominate folks that you think would be quality candidates to go through the program. And that's ultimately what it's all about. And that's kind of where we've been. Just so much impact that LRV has had over the years with different topics and different perspectives and the growth mindset. Some folks have, just this past year, but even in the past classes as well, there's been folks that might have been new to Roanoke or recently new to Roanoke or just earned a leadership position to be able to get into LRV. That experience has helped elevate them into leadership positions now. And it's super important to keep that growth mindset and super important to keep that focus on where we want the program to continue to go. And then really where we are with LRV. So unfortunately, when I first started in 2019, I got to see about 5 months of the 2019-2020 class and blinked, and here we are. We unfortunately had to put the program on pause in March of 2020. And I'm not sure if she's on the Zoom, but Jessie Kaufman, who's a member of the group. She is on Zoom. So Jessie was a part of that class. She was a participant in that class, and her experience was unfortunately cut short because of COVID. So we didn't really know how is LRV going to look. So unfortunately, we didn't have a class of 2020 to 2021. We tried to engage the alumni of the program at that time with some leadership webinars and encourage them to leverage those relationships with alumni and to really engage with the community. And then as we went into this year, last year, the class of 2022, we went into that class with a lot of unknown on how are we going to execute the program to make sure it had the same brand and integrity that it's had for the last 39 years and be able to, again, keep that momentum moving forward. We had a record number of applicants. We had a record number of nominations for this past class that just graduated. So clearly we're like, all right, people are in the community have that pent up demand. And to say the least, it was a successful year. It was a fantastic year. Started the year, as we always do, with an opening breakfast. Greg Brock, who's actually our board chair, Chamber's board chair, really just encouraged the participants to think different, think big, and take advantage of the opportunity that they have being the first LRV class out of COVID. And use that momentum and develop those relationships within your team, develop those relationships with the advisors. And then as we went through the first couple programs, we actually had Lois James. Lois James presented at our November Leadership Day to the group about leadership development and time management and thinking big and thinking different. And then as we got into the spring, and I'll give everybody a little background on the way the program works, the alumni certainly are familiar with that. There's a lot of different layers to LRV, a lot of different layers and a lot of different pieces that create a successful program. As we went into the spring, we had 5 topics. So we had 32 graduates with 5 topics. January's topic was workforce development. Super important issue right now, right? So workforce development, led by those advisors and those participants, really honed in on the importance of training and the importance of culture and the importance of the importance of investing in your employees and investing in your company culture. And again, all of these programs were designed to provide a different perspective. So that was our January program, workforce development. In February was the health team. And actually Alex's leader was on that health team, and their whole focus was mental health in the workplace. And they had a lot of engaging activities. I missed that one. I was in Florida during that time, but trying not to tell too many folks that. So, but the health team talked about mental health in the workplace and the importance of that, again, reinvesting in your employees. So it helped reiterate the workforce development program. In March was the transportation team, and they brought a very interesting perspective on transportation in the Valley and how decisions have transformed transportation in the Valley. They did we'll call it a cultural experience activity through Councilman Joe Cobb, helped support this with providing the participants. It was kind of I'll call it a scavenger hunt game. They told the participants, all right, you can't take a car to go anywhere, but you have to, whatever team gets the most points certainly wins a prize. The whole motive behind it was to encourage the participants to utilize Valley Metro, get a different perspective on the folks that need to utilize those services every day or choose to utilize those services every day, to really see how that impacts how they have to plan their day. How does it get them to work? How does it get them to Kroger? How does it get them to a CVS or a Walgreens? They encourage them to utilize everything but a car, walk, Valley Metro, scooters. We made sure everybody signed a waiver if they were going to ride the scooters, but encourage them to scavenger hunt around Roanoke. We had a group that went all the way to Vinton. We had a group that went all the way to Lakeside Plaza. Had a group that went all the way to Tanglewood, where Valley Metro drops off there as well. So it was just meant to be an eye-opening experience. And that also played into the prior topics of workforce development, of how those folks that need to utilize those services, how important the location of those stops are and the reoccurring schedule of those stops impact them getting to work. And Valley Metro is doing great things, and they're continuing to expand their service. And we're 100% supportive of that, both from a chamber side and from Leadership Roanoke Valley. So it helped impact the importance of workforce development. And then, of course, transportation and those folks choosing that, how it impacts their mental health in the workplace. So everything kind of continued to build upon each other. And we really didn't, that was not the intent. It just ended up being that way. In April, we had the environment team, and that was a new topic for LRV. Certainly an important topic as it pertains to the valley with everything that's going on with the continued growth and expansion of the greenways, the importance of recycling, and they provided some interesting perspective. All they told the participants before was to bring a bag of recycling. Didn't really say why. We held it at the rescue mission. One of the participants, Kevin Berry, works for the rescue mission, was on that team, so they were a gracious host, was able to provide them some canned goods for their continued mission and their continued hospitality for folks that need those services, and then told everyone to bring a bag of recycling. That was it. What it ended up being was Clean Valley Council, as well as numerous other partners, educating the group on what's truly recyclable and what isn't, and what the city takes, what the county takes, what you think is recyclable and what's really not. It was a very eye-opening experience. I appreciate Sherry shouting Clean Valley Council out with all the important initiatives they do, and just they're kind of a hidden secret in a sense, and we have to make sure they're not a hidden secret. And the environment team really helped reemphasize that fact. And again, they talked about the importance of the environment as it related to workforce development, and the importance of the environment as it related to health and the health of the region and the health of the greenways and the health of the rivers and Roanoke River and how important that is, and how the environment decisions that we make affect transportation. So it was just very wild in talking to the advisor group, how everything just started to mold together. And then May's program was community impact. So you can expect the community impact tied all 4 prior programs together. And they certainly did. The team held it at Virginia Tech Carilion, right by the Fairland Biomedical Research Institute. And there's amazing things going on there. And community impact's focus for the whole day was connecting the participants to opportunities to volunteer and opportunities to get involved in the region. And that's one ask I'll have of you all here in a few minutes on engaging with our participants to really help them see a different perspective. You know, you all are doing amazing things. I enjoy going to the pancake breakfast, and I'm enjoying hopefully in the future to go back in person. When I moved here, obviously, you know, it happened in, I think it was late 2020. It was supposed to happen early 2020, ended up happening in late. That's an event that is super crucial for you all. And it's an opportunity to get Leadership Roanoke Valley involved in helping you accomplish that mission and accomplish that event. So that'll be one ask I have of you all at the end. So Community Impacts Day really wrapped us all up. And then we had a great graduation just a couple weeks ago. So all in all, that's where we are with LRV, and that's where we're going. What we will continue to strive for in LRV is a positive participant experience and challenging the participants to think big, to think different, to find a different perspective. We're not sure yet what the topics are going to be for next year. We don't know if we'll have all 5 of those same topics next year, but there's so many different angles that you can go down. Prior to LRV being put on pause for COVID, the transportation team was planning to have a day down in Blacksburg, Virginia Tech area on everything going on at Torque Robotics and a lot of going on with the autonomous and electric vehicle cars and all the work that they're doing. Unfortunately, never got to see that experience. And then this transportation group took a totally different angle and focused more locally. So it's all around just different perspectives and opening your eyes a little bit different, but as well as providing valuable calls to action to their colleagues and to the other participants. So we encourage and we do our best in the beginning programs to have goals and objectives for the day, but also at the end, kind of round it all about with calls to action, ways to get involved, things to think about, conversations to have internally with their teams or with their organizations that they work for. So as you can tell, LRV's got a lot of momentum, and we're encouraged by that. From the program standpoint, each March, April timeframe is when nominations open. And that's where my first ask for you all is when nominations open, and I'll be happy to make sure Kevin and Eric and other folks in the room are in tune for this each and every year when we promote it through the chamber, is every one of you has someone that you can nominate, truly. If you think about it, you would know a potential leader to nominate and then encourage them to apply. So that's our ask that we continue to ask our membership, is when nominations come up each early spring, is to nominate someone for consideration. Steve called me actually right before nominations open, I believe, and just was inquiring about the program to see if it would be a good fit to nominate Rhonda. And obviously, ultimately he did, and Rhonda applied, and we're just waiting on the selection committee. So that's our ask, is really encourage you all to nominate someone, whether it be another fellow Kiwanian, certainly, or someone else that you work with, or another person you have within your community, to nominate them to apply. That'll be how we continue to keep the momentum moving forward. And then really the next ask is, how can we help connect LRV better to you all? How can we ensure that, if you need volunteer help for events, or volunteer help at the garden, or volunteer help with shopping for your back to school initiatives, those are opportunities that we can share with that group. We'd love to, I mentioned this to Kevin, is we'd encourage and love to have the opportunity for the next class to be able to attend and interact with you all at one of these meetings and see the impact that you all are continuing to do. So that'd be my ask on that. I do want to pause for a moment, get some water, and see if anybody had any questions, as well as I want to hear from, and we'll have to reiterate that to the folks on Zoom. I want to hear from you all that are graduates on what was the biggest impact for you in the program. As an alumni, we heard from Kevin, what was the biggest impact that you had from LRV? So somebody can just shout it out if you want. I'm not going to call anybody out or put anybody on the spot, even though Dave in the back did have the branding of Roanoke Valley, Roanoke Leadership Roanoke Valley shirt on. So we appreciate his branding on that for sure. So thank you, Dave. But did anybody want to share why LRV was impactful for you when you went through it? Yeah.
I was in one of the earlier classes, 1984, 85, I think it was the third class. Bart Wilson was in the class.
Bart, yes.
I remember we had an overnight retreat at 4-H camp. I don't know if we still do that. We had a really nice graduation banquet. Carter Burgess though was a graduation banquet at Hidden Valley. He was a great businessman in the valley. I do remember the monthly themes.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we broke into small groups and we had a project. We had to make a presentation at some point along the line. But greatest impact was that I met a lot of friends that helped me in my young career. That were mentors or go-tos and people I'm still friends with. So, I thought Leadership Roanoke Valley was a great organization and a great cause to be involved with.
We appreciate that. And just to reiterate to folks on Zoom what was said, so we had a graduate of, honestly, that was probably one of the first classes. Third class. Yeah, it was close. So we had an alumni from the third edition of LRV, and it was mentioned that just the relationship building and the folks that you met then to really help you elevate your career, and it's spot on. It's spot on exactly what LRV is all about, is the relationship building and the connection. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Anyone else? Question? We can do a question and then I'll let Erica. Question. Yeah, that's a great question. What were the specific requirements for application? So the selection committee, I'll say not we, the chamber, but the selection committee really looks for community involvement and volunteering. Looking for growth in the organization, looking for what impact they might have had in the region. So it's a tough question. There isn't necessarily a requirement from you have to be X age and you have to be in a senior vice president position or a full, you have to work for XYZ organization. There's nothing really like that. It's very open-ended. we encourage just, you can self-nominate. Someone could self-nominate themselves. For the applicant, they are required to upload a resume. They are required to submit a letter of recommendation, which is it's important to have that recommendation from a colleague or from another leader. So five topics with 7 participants. That number seems to work very well from a relationship building side for the teams. And then from the advisor side, certainly we like to have at least 3 advisors on those teams to help advise those participants. And that was probably the same when you were in, Kevin, as well, both as a participant and an advisor, correct? Yeah. So 30 to 35, it really depends on, it's a selective process. So if we one year get only 32 good completed applications with all those pieces provided, well, certainly we're not just going to accept everyone. We'll be selective on that. So it just depends. But yeah, good question. I guess I'll let Eric talk a little bit about his experience in LRV, and then definitely want to take some more questions as well.
Thank you, Eric. I wanted to grab the mic because one of the things that I learned in LRV is how to get over being a little shy. Few of you know me, probably might not think that I'm terribly shy, but I can be. So yeah, LRV was great. It taught me a whole bunch of things. And I use it, you never know when you're gonna, something pop up and it's like, oh, I just learned that I learned that in LRV and I'm still using a technique or a process. And I just did it over the weekend when I was washing car with my daughter, and just leadership stuff, it always pops up. So that's what I have to say. Eric, I was going to offer to play with the camera and the microphone, and I can get whoever else in the room is talking on mic and camera.
Yeah, I would encourage, I definitely want some more feedback from the alumni. So yeah, sounds good. They want to be respectful of everyone's time too, keeping an eye on my watch to not go over. Yes, question, comment, yeah?
I went through in 1986, Sam Darby was our advisor. Our topic was transportation. Graduation speaker was him always.
Okay, so we have a class of 1986 graduate, transportation group. And so you guys were transportation group then. I'm going to bring the mic over to you so Zoom folks can hear. What do you recall what you guys focused on as a part of that topic in 1986?
I think it was all of the transportation areas you'd find in Roanoke, if I remember correctly. What I got out of it the most was relationships that I still have today.
And I'm glad to continue to hear relationships, because that's what it's about all the time, right? It's always about building relationships. And this group is such a tight-knit group that you could talk to someone and maybe they see your LRV award on your credenza on your desk, or somehow you get talking about it. And that connection and that network is so powerful now, and continues to be powerful as we're all looking to get back out and make those connections and help grow the valley, grow the business, grow our business community. So I'm getting out of camera view, but I'm going to kind of make you run around, Eric. So any other feedback, questions, thoughts on LRV? Yeah.
We're very familiar with minor league baseball in this area. We go to a lot of events through our club over the years. We've had speakers from the Salem Red Sox. How did you personally transfer your talents from minor league baseball to the regional chamber?
Yes, that's a good question. So a lot of it was trust in God and faith, really, with my wife and I moving here. So again, where I'm originally from in Ocean City, that was the team I grew up with. The Shorebirds were the team I grew up with, and I know the folks in Salem very well just through that network. So when my wife and I were looking to relocate, we kind of picked the top 5 of where we wanted to go. Roanoke was one of them. And my wife interned in Salem back in I better get this right. I know she's not on Zoom, but 2017. She interned with Salem in 2017, and then we crossed paths when she came through Delmarva in 2018. So that was like our connection to the area. And when we were starting to look for positions in the area, this is around this time, 3 years ago, I saw the chamber job pop up, and I worked closely. We, the Shorebirds, were an active member of the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce back home, and I would go to their events all the time and was super engaged with their staff and other chamber members there. So I saw this job open up, and I go, man, this is a perfect opportunity to really get to know the business community and be able to take some of the talents I had in minor league baseball with relationship building and community relations and marketing and events. There was a lot in minor league baseball that's the same of what I do now. And that's what surprised me. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit. But it was a lot of what we do with the chamber is the same of what I did in minor league baseball. It's building relationships. It's making those connections. It's providing quality content, providing quality events. In baseball, it was, the game. The game itself was the entertainment, but it was still matching businesses to be the best fit to want to come and see that entertainment. And in this case, providing LRV, our annual meeting, our golf tournament, all of those events are still doing our best to provide content and valuable content and valuable connections and referrals. So I loved my time in minor league baseball. I miss the people and I miss the region. I don't necessarily miss the grind that minor league baseball is from a game standpoint and an hour standpoint. That's a grind, and I applaud the folks at Salem. Alan Lawrence is their GM, and Blair Hoke is their assistant GM, and Stephen Elovich is their director of corporate partnerships, and the rest of their team they're great people, and we're excited to continue to support them. So both from a chamber side, and I'm excited to continue to support them just as a minor league baseball fan. So yeah, thank you. Any other questions? If not, thank you. I appreciate the time, and please reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. How can we connect alumni of the program? And Kevin and the alumni in this room are continuing to do a great job on that. How can we connect the current class coming up? Hopefully Tanner and Rhonda. Hopefully, how can we connect them with you all to, of course, encourage them to join the club, as well as help out with your events. So thank you all again. I really appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thank you, Eric. What a great program today. Eric, we do have a speaker honorarium that we'd like to present to you. And Eric has chosen the Chamber of Commerce Foundation. So again, thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. And that foundation.
The Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce Foundation helps fund LRV. So this is going directly to helping that program continue. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you want to follow in Joyce's footsteps, we'd welcome your consideration for membership. So next week, we have Zenith Barrett with Goodwill Industries. The topic's going to be engagement in our community, and it's going to be introduced by Lori Baker Lloyd. So that'll be wonderful. I know I met Zenith back at the Salem Roanoke County Chamber, and she's very dynamic. So you all will love it. Other than that, I'm heading out for vacation. So I'm going to say y'all have a good one. I'll see you next week. We are adjourned on that. Awesome.